Chapter 1 The game begins. I leaned back in my chair, staring at the empty glass in my hand. The music from the cafe was low, the kind of background hum that let people whisper secrets. Aaron was across from me, grinning like he had discovered gold. "You won't believe this," he said, tapping the table with his finger. "I've got a system. A real one." I rolled my eyes. "You and your schemes. What is it this time? Flipping sneakers? Crypto? Selling fake VIP passes again?" He leaned closer, lowering his voice as if the waitress might be listening. "Nah, this one's better. The more women hate you, the more I earn." I laughed, choking a little on my own breath. "What? That doesn't even make sense." "It does if you know how the world works," he said. "Hate spreads faster than love. It's fuel. And guess what? You, my friend, are the perfect lightning rod." I frowned. "So I'm just your magnet for hate." "Exactly." His grin widened. "Think of it as teamwork. You just keep being you, and I'll keep cashing in." I wanted to say he was joking, but I'd known Aaron too long. He didn't grin like that unless he meant it. "What do you even get from this?" I asked. He pulled out his phone and showed me a string of messages. Girls gossiping, laughing, sending screenshots. Each one had my name highlighted. See, the more they talk, the more attention I get. The more attention I get, the more doors open. Free drinks, invites, favors. Some even slip me cash for keeping the drama alive. I stared at the screen, my stomach tightening. "So your business is making people hate me. Don't look so dramatic," he said, sipping his coffee. "It's not personal. It's strategy. And admit it, you were never the golden boy anyway. Women either ignore you or roll their eyes. Why not make that useful?" I stayed silent. His words stung because they were half true. I was used to being the background guy, the one overlooked in crowded rooms. But hearing him frame it like a profit plan, it felt like a knife sliding in with a smile. "So I'm just your clown?" I asked, forcing a laugh. "Not a clown. A partner. You're the reason I win. Without you, I've got nothing." The waitress came by and refilled my glass. She gave me the kind of glance I knew to well a mixture of pity and annoyance. Aaron caught it too, smirking as she walked away. "See what I mean?" he whispered. "Even strangers join the system. You're perfect for this." I pressed my hands together. "And what do I get?" Aaron leaned back, stretching like a king. "You get me, your best friend, and maybe a cut if you play along." I should have left right there. Walked out, slammed the door, told him to find another target. But instead, I stayed. Maybe curiosity pinned me down. Maybe some pathetic part of me wanted to know just how far he would take it. "So how does this system even work?" I asked. Aaron's eyes lit up. "Simple." I spread the word. The more outrageous the story, the faster it spreads. One girl hears you're cold, another hears you're arrogant, a third thinks you're playing them. They all hate you, and he tapped his chest. I become their trusted messenger. The good guy. The one they run to. Which means I get everything you don't. I swallowed hard. "And what if I don't want to play?" "Then you lose by default," he said flatly. "They'll hate you anyway. Might as well let me turn it into gold." I looked away, watching a couple laugh in the corner. The girl touched her boyfriend's hand, and he smiled back like she was the only person in the room. My chest tightened. For years, I'd wanted something like that. And now, my so-called best friend was turning my emptiness into his empire. "You're sick." I muttered. "Maybe," Aaron said with a shrug. "But sick people win. Healthy ones just survive." The words sank into me like poison. That night, I replayed the conversation in my head 100 times. His smirk, his certainty, the way the waitress looked at me. Every detail carved itself into my mind. Lying in bed, I stared at the ceiling. I thought about Sophie, her smile, the way she tucked her hair behind her ear, the way she once laughed at my terrible joke. She didn't know about Aaron's system yet, but if she did, if she turned against me too, he'd clench my fists under the blanket. Aaron thought I was his pawn. Maybe I was for now, but deep down, something whispered that I wouldn't stay that way forever. Still, as sleep dragged me under, his words echoed in my head. "The more they hate you, the more I earn. And I hated how much sense it almost made. Chapter 2. The bet that changed everything. Aaron slammed his glass down at the party, drawing every eye in the room. His grin was wide, his voice loud. "All right, listen up," he shouted. "I've got a challenge for my buddy here. A little bet." I froze, drink halfway to my lips. "Aaron, don't know. Come on." He cut me off, clapping my shoulder. "This one's harmless. Fun for everyone, right?" The crowd chuckled, curious. A circle formed around us, faces eager for drama. Sophie was there too, leaning against the wall with a cup in her hand, her eyes flicking between us. Aaron raised a finger. "For every woman here who hates him," he pointed straight at me. "I win. Simple as that. Every glare, every insult, every rejection is all fuel for me." Whispers rippled through the crowd. A few girls laughed. One rolled her eyes. My chest burned. "And if they don't?" I asked, my voice low. "Then you win," Aaron said, flashing teeth. "But let's be honest, when's the last time you actually won anything?" Laughter erupted. My throat tightened. Sophie's gaze lingered on me, unreadable. That hurt more than the laughter. I set my glass down and stepped closer to Aaron. "And what do I get if I win?" He smirked. "You get their love, I guess. Not that you'd know what to do with it." The room roared again. My ears rang. I clenched my fists but kept still. "Fine," I said through my teeth. "Play your stupid game." Aaron leaned back, triumphant. "There we go. Now we've got ourselves a bet." The night twisted into a show. Everywhere I turned, Aaron fanned the flames. He doesn't care about anyone but himself. I overheard him whisper to a group of girls. "He's only here to get attention," he told another. "He acts all mysterious, but really he's just arrogant," he joked to the rest. And they believed him. Their laughter stung like glass. Each glance felt heavier, each smirk sharper. I tried to defend myself once. "That's not true," I told one girl when Aaron painted me as some heartless flirt. She only shrugged. "Then why does it sound true?" Aaron winked at me from across the room, like a puppeteer watching his strings dance out by midnight. I'd had enough. I pushed past the crowd and stepped outside. The cold air slapped me awake. Footsteps followed. Sophie's voice cut through the quiet. "Hey," I turned. She was standing a few feet away, her face unreadable in the glow of the porch light. "You okay?" she asked. I forced a laugh. "Do I look okay?" She tilted her head. "Why do you let him do that to you?" "Because if I don't, he'll just do worse," I muttered. You saw how they all laughed. "I can't win with him." Her eyes softened, just slightly. "Maybe you're not supposed to play his game." The words struck me, but I shrugged them off. "Easy to say when you're not the one he's cashing in on," Sophie sighed, tucking her hair behind her ear. "You don't have to prove anything to him, or to them." I wanted to believe her. I wanted to hold onto her words like a rope out of drowning water. But inside, shame burned deep. "Thanks," I said, turning away. "But you'll hate me soon enough." That's the bet. I left before she could answer. Later that night, Aaron found me sitting alone on the couch, a half-empty bottle in my hand. He plopped down beside me, grinning. "Man, that was golden," he said. "Did you see their faces? You made me rich tonight." I didn't look at him. "You're disgusting. Come on, don't sulk. It's just a game. To you," I snapped. "Not to me," Aaron smirked. "That's the difference between us. I play to win. You play to survive." I turned to him, my voice low, dangerous. "One day, you'll regret this." His grin faltered for half a second. Just a flicker. Then he laughed it off and stood. "Maybe," he said. "But until then, keep being my gold mine." He left me there, empty bottle in my hand, rage boiling in my chest. I stared at the floor, trembling. The bet wasn't just a joke anymore. It was war. And for the first time, I wasn't sure who I hated more, Aaron for creating the game, or myself for letting him. That night, lying in the dark, Sophie's words came back. "Maybe you're not supposed to play his game." But what if winning his game was the only way to destroy it? I clenched my fists under the covers, eyes wide open in the dark. Aaron thought he'd humiliated me tonight, but all he'd done was light the fire, and I was done burning quietly. Chapter 3. Humiliation and silence. I didn't speak much the next week. Not at school, not at home, not even to myself. My phone buzzed with notifications. Half of them were screenshots Aaron had stirred up. The other half were whispers turned into public jokes. I muted everything. At lunch, I sat alone, fork in hand. I stared at my tray as the laughter of nearby tables bled into my ears. I didn't need to look to know they were talking about me. The air always changed when Aaron was nearby, like static before a storm. He slid into the seat across from me, uninvited. "Why so quiet?" he teased, stealing a fry off my plate. "You look like a ghost." I didn't answer. "You know silence just makes it worse," he added. "They'll think you're sulking, and sulking, that's just free fuel for me." I finally lifted my head. "What do you want from me, Aaron?" He leaned back, smug. "Nothing. I've already got it. The system's running beautifully. I barely even need to try now. You're feeding it just by existing." I stabbed my fork into the tray, the sound sharp. "You enjoy this?" "Of course," he said without hesitation. "You're my best friend, man. You make me shine. Without you, I'm just another guy. But with you," he spread his arms wide like he was welcoming applause. "I'm untouchable." I pushed my tray away and stood. "Enjoy your empire, then." Walking out of the cafeteria felt like walking through fire. Whispers at my back, footsteps trailing, phones buzzing. That night, I lay awake in bed, replaying every word, every laugh. My chest felt tight, like I was trapped under heavy water. I thought of Sophie again, her eyes that night on the porch, soft, almost pitying. The thought made me burn even more. A message popped up on my phone. "Hey, are you okay?" It was from Lena. She wasn't someone I spoke to often. Quiet girl, usually buried in books. "I'm fine." I typed. "Why? Because you don't look fine. You look like you were carrying the world on your back today." I stared at the screen for a long time before replying. "Aaron's just being Aaron. You know how he is." "I know, but you don't have to let him." I almost laughed. "And what do you suggest?" "Stand your ground. Silence only makes bullies louder." I didn't answer. My thumb hovered over the keyboard, but I locked the phone instead. Advice was easy when you weren't the one being torn apart. The next day, Aaron cornered me in the hallway. "You disappeared yesterday," he said, blocking my path. "That's not like you." "Maybe I'm tired of being your joke." His grin sharpened. "There is no joke. This is serious business. And you're my brand. You're sick," I muttered, trying to push past him. He grabbed my arm. "No, you're weak. That's why it works. They see you as weak and me as strong. You complete the picture. Without you, I'm nothing. So don't you dare quit." I ripped my arm free. "One day, you'll choke on your own system." Aaron only laughed too loud, drawing more eyes to us. "Then I'll choke on success." By Friday, I stopped fighting. Not because I agreed, but because I was tired. Tired of words, tired of defending myself, tired of giving him reactions he could twist. So I went silent. Aaron kept gloating, but my silence made him louder, more desperate. He cracked jokes in front of others, trying to bait me, but I gave him nothing. One afternoon, he shoved me playfully in the hallway. "Come on, say something. Anything. Give me a little drama." I looked at him coldly. No, the single word stunned him. His smile faltered for a breath before returning. "Sue yourself. But remember, silence makes me richer." Maybe it did. But silence also gave me space to think, space to breathe. The weekend. Lena messaged me again. "Want to get coffee?" We sat by the window of a quiet cafe. She stirred her drink slowly, watching me. "You're too quiet," she finally said. "Because every word I say turns into his weapon," I replied. She nodded. "True. But staying quiet makes him believe he's already won." I sighed. "So what do I do? Fight a scream? What's the point?" "The point," she said softly, is not to let him define who you are. You're not his pawn. You're you. He wants you broken because that keeps him powerful. Her words sank deeper than I expected. For the first time all week, I felt something other than shame, something close to defiance. You really think I can beat him? I asked. Lena smiled faintly. Not by playing his game, but maybe by rewriting it. That night, I lay in bed again, staring at the ceiling. Aaron's laughter haunted my ears, but Lena's words whispered underneath, rewrite the game. I didn't know what that meant yet, but it felt like the start of something. And for the first time, silence didn't feel like surrender. It felt like preparation. Chapter 4. My breaking point. Aaron caught up with me after class. Swagger in every step. You've gone quiet again, he said, blocking the doorway. Not good for business. I shifted my bag on my shoulder. Move, or what? He smirked. You'll glare me to death. Come on, man. You know I need you. Don't make me work harder. I stared at him, my chest tight. Do you even hear yourself? Yes, he said proudly. I'm smart enough to use what's already broken. My fist clenched. And what if I stop letting you use me? His grin widened. You won't, you can't. Because no one here would notice you without me. That was it. The words sliced deeper than any rumor. Something inside me snapped. I shoved him back against the lockers. Gas echoed down the hall. Phones lifted instantly. You think you own me? I growled. You think I'm your pawn? Aaron only laughed, even pinned against the cold metal. There it is. Finally, some fire. This is what they want to see. Keep going. Give me more. My hand trembled against his shirt, rage burning hotter than my control. For a moment, I wanted to smash his smirk into silence. But I let go. I stepped back, breathing hard. My voice low. One day, Aaron, one day this game you built will bury you. He straightened his shirt, still smirking. Maybe. But until then, I'll keep winning. I walked away, every muscle shaking. Behind me, his laughter echoed like chains. That night, Lena called. I heard what happened. It's all over already. I asked bitterly. Of course. People recorded it. They're saying you lost control. I laughed without humor. That's the story, isn't it? Aaron's the genius. I'm the fool who can't handle it. You're not a fool, Lena said firmly. You're human, and he's pushing you to break. I closed my eyes, gripping the phone tight. Then maybe it's time I do break. Not for him, for me. Silence hung between us before she whispered, just don't lose yourself in the process. The following days, Aaron strutted through the halls like a king. He replayed the locker scene for anyone who would listen, exaggerating my anger, turning it into comedy. His face was red, like he was about to explode. He laughed in front of a group. I swear, I thought he'd cry right there. The girls laughed with him. Some shook their heads like I was pathetic. I kept walking, jaw tight. Each laugh was fuel. Not for him, for me. By the time I reached the library, my decision was clear. If Aaron wanted a show, I'd give him one. But not the one he expected. Later that night, I found him in the parking lot, leaning against his car, phone glowing in his hand. Round two already? He said when he saw me. No, I answered, stepping closer. This isn't a fight. This is me telling you I'm done being your pawn. He chuckled. You said that before. This time I mean it. I looked him dead in the eyes, my voice steady. You think I'm weak because I don't fight back. But here's the truth. Every rumor, every laugh, every piece of hate you've piled on me, it's not breaking me. It's sharpening me. And when I finally flip it back on you, you won't see it coming. Aaron's smile flickered for the first time. You're bluffing, he said. Try me, I whispered, and walked away. Back home, I sat at my desk, staring at the glow of my phone. Notifications buzzed, memes, jokes, videos of me at the lockers. They should have crushed me. Instead, I smiled faintly. Aaron thought he had broken me today, but really, he'd given me clarity. I wasn't going to fight his way. I wasn't going to scream or punch or beg. I was going to rewrite the rules. And the first rule, no more reacting on his terms. I powered off my phone, the screen going black. For the first time, the silence felt like freedom. The next morning, Aaron tried again. Big man now. Huh? He called in the hallway. Scared of a rematch? I didn't even glance at him. I just kept walking. He laughed louder, but there was a crack in it now thin. Brittle. I realized something then. He needed me more than I needed him. And that knowledge, that tiny shift, made me smile as I walked away. Chapter 5. Turning the tables. I stopped fighting Aaron head on. That was the trick. Every time I reacted, he thrived. So instead, I gave him nothing, no anger, no defense. Just silence and a faint smile that unnerved him more than shouting ever could. The first time it happened was in the cafeteria. He walked up, loud enough for half the tables to hear. Hey, everyone. Did you know my buddy here once got turned down by 3 girls in a single night? Hat trick of failure. The crowd laughed. All eyes turned to me. I calmly sipped my drink, looked him in the eye, and smiled. Not bitterly, calm, controlled. Aaron's grin faltered. You're just gonna sit there. Nothing to say. I shrugged. Guess you already said it for me. The laughter shifted softer now, uncertain. A few people even looked at Aaron instead of me. That was the first crack. Later that day, Lena caught me in the library. What are you doing? She asked. What do you mean? You're different, calmer, almost smug. I smiled faintly. Maybe I finally realized silence doesn't mean surrender. Sometimes it means control. She studied me, eyes sharp. You're planning something. Maybe. She leaned closer. Just promise me you won't destroy yourself to destroy him. I didn't answer, because deep down, I wasn't sure. Aaron, of course, noticed. He cornered me by the lockers again, frustration clear in his voice. You think ignoring me makes you look strong? No, it makes you look weak, cowardly, maybe, I said. But you're still talking about me, not the other way around. His jaw tightened. Don't play games with me. I invented this system. Systems break, I replied. Yours will too. For once, he had no comeback. The shift was slow, but I felt it. The same girls who once avoided me started watching me differently. Not with admiration, at least not yet, but with curiosity. At a weekend party, I sat quietly on the couch, phone in hand, while Aaron worked the room with his usual flair. He's so full of himself. I heard one girl whisper after Aaron exaggerated another story about me. Isn't it weird how he always talks about his friend? Another said. I had a smile behind my cup. The cracks were widening. Sophie approached me that night. You've changed, she said. Arms crossed. Better or worse? I asked. I don't know yet. But you don't look broken anymore. I chuckled. Guess hate isn't as heavy once you stop carrying it. She tilted her head. You don't hate me, do you? For laughing that night? The memory stung. But I shook my head. No, you didn't know the whole story. Her eyes softened. And what's the whole story? I looked toward Aaron, laughing loudly across the room. That sometimes the real villain isn't the crowd, it's the one holding the strings. Sophie followed my gaze. For the first time, doubt flickered across her face. The following week, Aaron tried harder. His stories grew bolder, his lies sharper. But the more he pushed, the more desperate he sounded. One day in class, he announced, Did you know he once bragged about rejecting Sophie? Like she wasn't good enough for him. Heads turned. Sophie's eyes locked onto mine. I didn't flinch. Did I? I asked calmly. Sophie, do you remember me ever saying that? She hesitated, then shook her head. No, never. The room buzzed. Aaron's smirk wavered. I smiled faintly. Guess the system glitched. Laughter rippled not at me this time, but at him later. In the parking lot, Aaron grabbed my arm, fury in his eyes. What are you doing? You're ruining everything. I yanked free. No, Aaron. I'm letting you ruin it yourself. His face twisted. You think you're clever, but this is still my system, my game. Then explain why you look like you're losing. For the first time, his voice broke. Because you're not supposed to fight back like this. You're supposed to give me reactions. You're supposed to play along. I stepped closer, my tone quiet but sharp. Maybe I stopped playing your game and started writing my own. He stared at me, speechless. I walked away smiling, not because I had won yet, but because for the first time. Aaron looked afraid. That night, Lena called again. You've shifted the balance, she said. Maybe. You know this won't end quietly. Right. He's not the type to give up. I know. I leaned back, staring at the ceiling. But neither am I. The fire inside me wasn't rage anymore. It was resolve. Aaron built his system on hate, but I have found something stronger: patience, silence, control. And soon, I'd use them all to turn his empire of lies into rubble. Asterisk chapter 6. The cracks in his empire. Asterisk Aaron wasn't used to losing control. I could see it in the way his smile twitched, how his voice grew sharper every time he spoke about me. The cracks were showing, and for once, they weren't in me. At lunch, he tried again. Hey, everyone. Remember when he cried after getting dumped? Like full-on sobbing. Some girls giggled, but the laughter didn't spread the way it used to. Instead, one of them asked, wait, how do you know all this stuff about him? Aaron blinked. Because he tells me everything. Or maybe you just make things up, another girl said. I looked down at my tray, hiding my smile. Aaron's jaw tightened. Why would I lie? But the doubt was there. I didn't have to say a word. That afternoon, Sophie caught up with me in the hallway. Why does he always talk about you? She asked. I shrugged. Because without me, he's nobody. Her lips parted like she wanted to argue. But then she nodded slowly. It's starting to feel that way. Maybe you're just seeing him for who he is. And who are you? She asked softly. I didn't answer right away. For so long, I'd been defined by Aaron's lies. Now, for the first time, the question felt like mine to answer. Someone learning how not to be a pawn. I said finally. Her eyes lingered on me. Thoughtful. Later, in the library, Lena slid into the seat across from me. You're enjoying this, she said. Maybe a little. You're smiling more. Because he's slipping. She leaned forward. Just don't let his downfall become your obsession. Revenge is fire. It burns everything, not just the one you pointed at. I met her gaze. I'm not burning him. I'm letting him burn himself. Her eyes softened, but worry remained. By the end of the week, Aaron was unraveling. I could hear it in his tone when he cornered me by the lockers again. You're turning people against me, he accused. I raised an eyebrow. Am I? Or are they just realizing you're full of lies? You're manipulating them, he shouted. I smirked. Funny. That was your specialty, wasn't it? His fists clenched. Don't get cocky. I can still end you. Then why haven't you? The silence that followed was delicious. He stared at me, chest rising and falling. But no words came. For once, he had nothing. At a party that weekend, the cracks widened. Aaron tried his usual routine, telling a group that I'd bragged about Sophie. But Sophie was standing right there. That's not true, she said flatly. Aaron froze. What? I've talked to him. He never said anything like that, the group murmured, shifting uncomfortably. Aaron's face reddened. I stayed calm, sipping my drink. Guess the system's glitching again. Laughter spread, not the mocking kind, but the kind aimed at him. Aaron stormed out of the room, and for the first time, the power shifted fully. He confronted me later in the parking lot, his voice raw. You're stealing everything from me. I'm not stealing anything. You're losing it on your own. You think you're better than me. His voice cracked. You think people will love you just because you're quiet and smug now. I stepped closer, lowering my voice. No, they'll love me because I stopped being your victim. That's what scares you. His hands trembled, fists tightening, but he didn't swing. He couldn't, not anymore. You'll regret this, he whispered. I smiled faintly. Maybe, but at least I'll regret it on my terms. That night, Lena called again. He's breaking, she said simply. I know. And how do you feel? I leaned back, staring at the ceiling. Strangely calm. Like I don't have to fight anymore. I just have to watch. And if watching turns you into him, she asked. I was quiet for a long moment. Then I'll stop. But for now, I need to see how far he falls. She sighed. Just don't lose yourself in his destruction. I won't, I said. But even as I said it, I wondered if I already had. Aaron built his empire on my silence. Now that same silence was cracking it apart, and all I had to do was keep smiling as it fell. Chapter 7. The twist of fate *. The truth has a way of crawling out. Even when someone like Aaron tries to bury it. It started with whispers. Girls who used to glare at me now ask questions. Wait, did you really say that about Sophie? Did you actually insult Mia? Each time, I shook my head calmly. No, that was Aaron's story, not mine. Doubt spread like cracks in glass. The same cracks I'd been waiting for. The storm broke one afternoon in the cafeteria. Sophie stood up in front of everyone, her voice clear. I want to say something, she announced. The room fell silent. Aaron froze mid-sentence, a tray in his hand. Sophie's eyes swept the crowd. I laughed at him once because I believed Aaron. I believed all the lies. But I asked questions. And the truth? None of it was real. Murmurs surged. Faces turned toward Aaron. He told us everything. One girl said. You said he bragged about rejecting Sophie. Aaron's smile wavered. He did. I swear, no. Sophie cut him off. I've spoken to him. He never said those things. You twisted everything. The cafeteria erupted, voices colliding. Some angry, some shocked. All of them pointing at Aaron now. I sat there quietly, my heart steady. My lips curved in that same faint smile. Aaron dropped his tray, food scattering across the floor. You're all blind. He's manipulating you. That's what he does. No, I said finally, my voice calm, but sharp. That's what you do. The silence that followed hit harder than shouting. Aaron's face twisted. You think you've won. You think one little speech changes anything? I stood, meeting his eyes. It's not one speech. It's the truth finally catching up to you. The crowd murmured again. But now their eyes carried judgment not for me, but for him. Aaron stormed out, the door slamming behind him. Later that day, he cornered me in the parking lot, his face pale, eyes wild. You ruined me. He spat. No. I said, you ruined yourself. I just stopped helping you hide it. His hands shook. Do you know what I've lost? They won't even look at me now. All because of you, not because of me. I corrected. Because they finally see who you are. For the first time. His voice cracked. I just wanted to matter. The words hit me harder than I expected. For a second, I saw past the arrogance, past the lies, to the boy underneath, desperate, insecure, hollow. You could have mattered without destroying me. I said quietly. He stared at me, trembling. And now you live with what you've built. Aaron sank against his car, burying his face in his hands. His empire of lies had collapsed, and all that remained was regret. That night, Sophie messaged me. You were right. He was the real villain all along. I typed back slowly. I didn't need to fight him. The truth did it for me. After a pause, she replied, and you're smiling now, aren't you? I stared at the screen, lips curving. Yeah, I am. The next day, whispers still floated. But they were different now. My name wasn't tied to hate anymore. If anything, people looked at me with curiosity, even guilt. In the hallway, Lena walked beside me. So, you won, did I? I asked. She raised an eyebrow. Aaron's finished. His system collapsed. Everyone knows the truth. You're free, maybe. I looked around at the eyes following me. But freedom doesn't feel like victory. It feels heavier. She nodded slowly. Because winning doesn't erase the scars. I stayed quiet, letting her words settle. Later, Aaron approached me one last time. No smirk, no swagger. Just hollow eyes. Do you hate me? He asked. I studied him. Once, I would have said yes without hesitation. But now, standing in front of him broken and small, hate felt pointless. No, I said softly. I don't hate you. His lips parted, surprise flickering in his eyes. That's worse, isn't it? I added. He swallowed hard and walked away. Shoulders slumped. That night, I sat alone, thinking. Aaron had cashed in on my humiliation for months. But in the end, he became the punchline of his own joke. And me? I smiled quietly, not because I destroyed him, but because I'd survived him. The twist wasn't his downfall. It was my strength. Chapter 8 smiling at the end. The storm had passed. Not quietly, not cleanly, but it had passed. Walking through the halls now felt different. The whispers that once cut into me were gone. People still looked, but their eyes carried something else: curiosity, maybe guilt, maybe respect. Whatever it wasn't hate. Aaron had vanished into the background. No more loud entrances, no more stories. Just silence. The same silence he once mocked me for. Sophie found me by the lockers one morning. You're calmer now, she said. I chuckled. Calm looks better than desperate, doesn't it? She tilted her head. You were never desperate, just misunderstood. That's generous, I said, closing my locker. Mostly I was a convenient villain in Aaron's story. And now? She asked. I looked at her. Now I get to write my own. Her smile was small but real. I think people are starting to see that. I didn't answer. But for the first time, I let myself hope she was right. Later that day, Lena joined me at lunch. She set her tray down across from mine. You did it, she said simply. Did what? Survived him. I smiled faintly. That's all it was, wasn't it? Survival. She leaned forward. Survival isn't small. You turned his system inside out without ever lowering yourself to his level. That's something. Maybe. I stabbed at my food. But it doesn't feel like triumph. Just quiet. Quiet can be good, she said. Quiet means peace. I looked at her and realized she was right. For months, noise had defined me: the laughter, the rumors, the lies. Now the quiet felt like air after a storm. That evening, Aaron appeared one last time. He waited by my house, hands shoved deep in his pockets. His shoulders slumped, his eyes hollow. I wanted to say sorry, he muttered. I studied him, unsure if I believed it. Sorry because you lost, or sorry because you meant it. His lips trembled. Both silence stretched. Then I said, I don't hate you. His eyes flicked up, confused. I don't forgive you either, I added. But I don't hate you. That's your punishment, Aaron. You don't get to own my anger anymore. He swallowed hard, nodded once, and walked away without another word. Watching him go, I felt lighter. Not victorious, not vengeful, just free. The next week, Sophie sat beside me in class. People are starting to realize how wrong they were, she whispered. I smirked. Let them. I don't need apologies. But maybe you deserve them. I turned to her. What about you? Do you regret laughing? Her cheeks flushed. Yes. But I also learned something. I learned not to believe everything I hear. And maybe I learned that you're stronger than anyone gave you credit for. Her words lingered long after class ended. One afternoon, Lena and I walked home together. You're smiling more these days, she observed. Guess I finally understand something. What's that? That Aaron never really cashed in on my pain. Naturally, because while he got favors and laughs, I got something he never will. She raised an eyebrow. And what's that? Strength, I said simply. The kind that doesn't fade when people stop watching. Lena smiled faintly. That's the twist, isn't it? He thought hate would break you. Instead, it built you. I laughed softly. Exactly. That night, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. The echoes of those humiliations used to haunt me: the laughter, the whispers, Aaron's grin. Now they felt distant, like old scars. Still there, but no longer bleeding. I thought about Sophie, her soft smile when she said I looked calmer. I thought about Lena, warning me not to lose myself. And I thought about Aaron, walking away in silence. The more they hate you, the more I earn. He once said, but the truth, the more they hated me, the more I learned. And in the end, I was the one smiling. Not because I destroyed him, not because I'd won some grand war, but because I'd survived, grown, and found myself in the ashes of his game. I closed my eyes, a quiet smile tugging at my lips. Aaron's system was gone. Mine had just begun.